day. So I am presenting the a respective paper. I am the presenter. My name is Jain Tasim Sani. I am the student of fourth year second semester, Department of Statistics, Begum Rokeya University, Rangpur, ID 1610006. My presentation is about the paper Machine Learning Based Predictors for COVID-19 disease severity. This is the paper you can see here. This paper was published in 25th February 2021. Here is the background of the paper. We all know that COVID-19 is a global pandemic. This pandemic has become a great threat to public health, especially to the serious health problems like heart and lung condition. COVID-19 pandemic has strained healthcare delivery models across the world. Predictors of the need for intensive care and mechanical ventilation. Mechanical ventilation can help healthcare systems to develop machine learning algorithms for predicting the need for intensive care and mechanical ventilation. The objectives of the paper is to determine the predictors of preventive practices, to identify patient level clinical characteristics to predict the need for ICU care and mechanical ventilation of COVID-19 patients. The patients with COVID-19 are considered to have severe illness if they have SpO2 less than 94% or on room air, PaO2 or FiO2 at less than 300 millimeter per mercury, a respiratory rate 30 greater than 30 breaths per minute, or lung infiltrates greater than 50%. These patients may experience rapid clinical deterioration. Now about the study area and population. The study area evicted from an institutional review board approved COVID-19 RED cap respiratory. The respiratory contained demographic, clinical and laboratory data seen at Keck Medical Center of USC, Verdugo Hills Hospital and Los Angeles County, USC Medical Center. This study comprised of 212 patients, including 123 males and 89 females with an average age of 53 years. 24 hours of initial presentation was included as input, and the need for ICU admission and mechanical ventilation at any time during hospitalization are selected as outcomes. More than 30% missing data are excluded from analysis. The missing data was imputed using an iterative imputation method. The feature which are imputed to this method is treated as highly correlated, so that was excluded. Now the variables. The paper used socio-demographic data, clinical data, and blood panel profile data, which includes these variables. Using these variables, the researcher used machine learning algorithms like random forest, multi-layer perception, support vector machines, gradient boosting, extra tree classifier, and AdaBoost. Then all the data are splitting into two data, training data and test data. 60% data of the data was splitting into training, and 20% data was test data. Then five-fold cross validation was performed using the training set to train the supervised learning models and tune their hyperparameters. The hyperparameters are random forest, multi-layer perception, support vector machines, gradient boosting, extra tree classifier, and AdaBoost. From here, random forest classifier was found to be the most accurate and was considered for further analysis. Now the random forest model. Random forest model applied to the testing data to compute the probability of ICU admission and mechanical ventilation. This was repeated with 5 different folds, predicted probabilities of 212 subjects generated by 5 distinct RF models. The RF models are used to generate an ROC curve and compute the area under curve. Now we can see a figure. This figure, here the figure, the AUC values for predicting the need for ICU and mechanical ventilation. The RF predictors reported an AUC of 0.80, 95% confidence interval, 0.73 to 0.86 in predicting the need for ICU, and an AUC of 0.83, 95% confidence interval, 0.76 to 0.90 for predicting the need for mechanical ventilation. Among these algorithms, based on decision trees, the random forest classifier is the most accurate. In figure 2, here shown that 10 most highly correlated features with the need for ICU care and 10 features with the highest relative importance of predicting the need for ICU care. In the figure 3, we can see that 10 most highly correlated features with the need for mechanical ventilation and 10 features with the highest relative importance of predicting the need for mechanical ventilation. Here in this table, we can see the sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value and negative predictive value. The ICU predictor yields a sensitivity of 0.73, specificity of 0.74, a positive predictive value of 0.6, and negative predictive value of 0.84. Whereas the predictor for mechanical ventilation yields a sensitivity of 0.72, specificity of 0.73, a positive predictive value of 0.44, and negative predictive value of 0.90. Now the conclusion. The obtained result from this study demonstrate that data acquired at or around the time of admission of a COVID-19 patient to a care facility can be used to make an accurate assessment of their need for critical care and mechanical ventilation. These models, based on this reduced set of features, are easier to implement since they require less data. The result also indicate that it is possible to make moderately accurate prediction with only socio-demographic and presenting clinical data. This is all about my presentation. Thank you all. Any question or recommendation, please feel free to ask me.
Very good presentation indeed. Like the slide was very clear and concise. Your slide was good. But the way you designed your slide seems very good. Okay.
Thank
So
you,
yes,
sir.
it's a long paper, like a lot of informations are there. So I'd like to request the participants are here to raise your question. If there is no question, then we can go to Nahid Sarwar for presenting next. Mr. Nahid Sarwar.
Sunny, can you please stop sharing your screen?
I have stopped.
I can't share my screen because Janita's name is sharing her screen. Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
And my slide is on the screen.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, thank you, our honorable teacher, Dr. Mohammed Siddiqur Rahman sir, for ending this virtual seminar. And hello everyone, I am Mohammed Naisar, student of 4th year second semester, Department of Statistics, Begum Rohaya University, Rangpur. And my presentation topic is supervised machine learning models for prediction of COVID-19 infection using epidemiology dataset. This paper was published on 27th November 2020. Introduction. Maybe my previous classmates have described about COVID-19, but I can skip that part about COVID-19. That we know that it is a very um, latest pathogenic outbreak to the world, and many people have died since the virus arose. Objectives. There are many objectives in this research paper. That first, we can see that why supervised models should be used to predict COVID-19 infection, and how the machine learning models can be developed for predicting COVID-19 infection for this study, and what could be the future situation of COVID-19 cases based on those developed models, and what roles can be played by supervised machine learning in predicting COVID-19 and helping the healthcare system. We know that we have a limitation healthcare system and there is no cure for COVID-19 virus. Methodology of this study, that we can see that the authors or the publishers the authors have used a methodology for this study, and they have used COVID-19 epidemiology data set for further processing, and we can see that they have splitted their data into training and testing data set, and for further processing they have used some more machine learning models to get the desired results. For this data, this study, they have collected the data from some sources, that an epidemiology data set of positive and negative COVID-19 cases from Mexico is used in this study. The dataset was reported by the General Directorate of Epidemiology, Secretariat of Health in Mexico, and made available on their official website. The dataset was obtained from the information of viral respiratory diseases epidemiological surveillance system, which was reported by the 475 viral respiratory disease monitoring units throughout the country. The dataset has above 260K records with 41 features. materials. We can see a table of data of the data set. That data set has 11 features, including age, sex, pneumonia, diabetes, and etc. And besides age, we can see that those other features were described with binary variable. That for example, the sex is, if sex is 0, that is means she is a female person, and if 1 is a male person. There is a chart bar diagram of the patients who have whose data was collected, and actually it is the result, COVID-19 result, test result. And we can see that above 100K people have tested positive, COVID-19 positive, and the remaining haven't affected from even affected, sorry. Dataset sample. You can see that one of the sample of this dataset that they have collected from the epidemiological department of Mexico. That we can see several variables and 11 features. If we describe one variable, one participant's information, that the first one is why this participant's age is 74 years and his gender is female, and she has no pneumonia or asthma, CVDs, CKDs, or tobacco addiction, but she has diabetes, hypertension, and obesity, and her corona result is negative. And if you see the result chart or result chart, that 0 is negative and 1 is positive. So there is in this sample, 2 patients are corona positive and remaining other is corona negative. Methods. For this study, we have they have applied many methods, including a net-based algorithm, logistic regression, decision tree, correlation coefficient, support vector machine or SVM, artificial neural network or ANN. Besides correlation coefficient, the remaining methods are we known of supervised machine learning models or supervised machine learning algorithms. They have applied some those methods, and first we have got the R values and the status of correlation coefficient. We can see from the upper figure, there is a correlation matrix among those features, that age, sex, pneumonia, diabetes, and etc. That we can see from the correlation and sorry from the correlation matrix, we can see those variables among and the relationship among those features. And in this table, they have specifically indicated result as the independent feature and others as dependent feature to see the relationship between them. And if we may ask the question, why we seeing the why we use this correlation coefficient, because the topic is based about supervised machine learning model. The idea behind the correlation coefficient analysis approach is that the importance of a relevant feature set in a data set can be determined by evaluating a strength relationship between dependent and independent features. A feature set is considered good for machine learning model if the dependent feature are correlated with the independent features, so that we can see that the R values all are positive, and their relationship is weak positive correlation, which called positive, but they have relationships. So it is good to go to apply some supervised machine learning models. This is a figure of decision tree model for prediction COVID-19 infection, and they have splitted their data 80% data set into training and remaining for testing. We can see the results of the applied for models that they have has been applied to this study, and we can see some variables and some some attributes, that's accuracy, sensitivity, specificity, and we can see that the decision tree has the highest accuracy among those models. And in sensitivity, support vector machine has the highest, and in specificity, naive Bayes is the highest specificity. And there is the bar diagram of these models that has been applied to the study. There is a conclusion. Supervised machine learning models for COVID-19 infection are developed in this work with a decision tree, logistic regression, and naive Bayes learning algorithms using an epidemiology level database of positive and negative COVID-19 cases in Mexico. The models were trained with 80% training data and tested with the remaining 20% of the data. The model developed with decision tree happened to be the best model among all models developed in terms of accuracy with 94.99%. In contrast, SVM or support vector machine and naive Bayes models emerged to be the best models among all models in terms of sensitivity and specificity with 93.34% and 94.30% respectively. So we can see that if we see the accuracy of this study or of any data set, we can use decision tree model. Then the remaining for the sensitivity, we can use the SVM, and is for specificity, we can use naive Bayes model. And that's all for my presentation. If you have any question, you can raise them.
Nahid, very good presentation, and the presentation slides are very beautiful. As far as I see the presentation slide, I think this is one of the best, and
Yes,
I found it's very good. So, any question from the audience? No question from first year, second year? If there is no question, we can move to the next presenter, Mr. Bipul Islam.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Please stop my screen sharing.
Please give me some time for sharing screen. Assalamualaikum, dear all participant and audience. I am happy and lucky of being part of this beautiful e-seminar. Firstly, I thank my honorable teacher, Dr. Mohammad Siddiqur Rahman, sir, for giving me an opportunity for this session. I'm Mohammad Bipul Islam, 4th year, 2nd semester student, Department of Statistics. My ID is 1610035. Now, I'm presenting my selected paper. My paper name is Machine Learning and Dengue Forecasting, Comparing Random Forest and Artificial Neural Network for Predicting Dengue Burden at National and Subnational Scale in Colombia. This is the original paper. This paper is published on close neglected tropical disease, and publication date is September 24, 2020. Here is the breakdown of this paper. Dengue virus is most prevalent of the mosquito-borne viral diseases, infecting 390 million people annually in 128 countries, or 4 different viral serotypes. Colombia is one of the countries most affected by dengue, with the Aedes mosquitoes being widely distributed throughout all departments at elevation between 2000 meters. Object of this paper to evaluate the potential of random forest forecasting model at the department and national level in Colombia. National polling across the all departments and local department specific model were compared and used to predict future dengue cases in Colombia. At the rationale of this paper contributes to the fields of disease forecasting and highlights different consideration for future forecasting studies. National and local model were compared and used to predict the future dengue cases in Colombia, including a predictor of mosquito abundance from a entomological surveillance program may reduce such time lag errors. Researcher, here the author of this paper select the study area of 32 departments of Colombia. Important variables and data source. Here the indicators or variables are dengue cases, rainfall, UVI, temperature, population, Gini index, education coverage. There are 3 types of indicators here. One is environmental indicators, UVI, meteorological predictor, rainfall and temperature, and the next indicators are socio-demographic predictors, population, Gini index, and education. The source of this variable or of these indicators, dengue case, dengue cases source Shibigala, rainfall source CMORPAs, EVI source for DACC. Temperature, population, Gini index, and education are sourced from the Colombian National Administration Stative Department of Statistics. Authors here authors use 3 different methods combinedly use the time series and machine learning approach. Random forest model is one kind of approach of machine learning model. Here random forest method, bootstrap aggregation is the most distinctive technique used in forest for count the dengue cases. ANN model use ReLU as an activation function to solve the problem for vanishing gradient and the avoid overfitting through sitting dropouts. ERIMA model, this is called the autoregressive integrated moving average model. This is the model from time series analysis, in which select meteorological factors, temperature, precipitation act as covariates in conjunction with historical dengue data for 1 to 12 week ahead forecasting. At the result, figure 1, weekly total count of confirmed dengue cases over Colombia for 2014 to 18, and the predicted counts of dengue cases for national 1 to 4, 8, and 12 week ahead models for 2018. Here from this graph we see the confirmed dengue cases more than 2,500 per week at the end of 2015, and outbreak ended mid-year of 2016. Following this outbreak, the yearly dengue case peak were drastically reduced in 2016 to 17, and began increasing 2018 again. Table 1, accuracy comparison among ERIMA, RF, a random forest model, and artificial neural network model prediction of 2018. Here the mention table, mention column is a more important result for this table. The national random forest model more accurately predict the dengue cases than the ERIMA model, local RF model, and national ANN model. For the smaller overall relative mean square error, mean absolute error, and mean absolute error. The average mean absolute error for the leave one session out was validation. Here, first column is the predictor of 1 to 12 week ahead dengue cases, and second column is local random forest and forest forecasting, and national RF model and national ANN model fourth column. Important column is national random forest model. The forest errors of national random forest model are smaller to those national fault artificial neural network model, and are increased the forecast horizon increasing 1 week ahead, which error value is 9.32, and 12 week ahead the value is 24.56. Here we can see that the error is increasing when we predict the value of dengue cases 1 week ahead to 12 week ahead. The accuracy comparison between local and national random forest model at the department scale, and for 1 week ahead, 4 week ahead, 8 week ahead, and 12 week ahead prediction. Here red color indicates the local model, and the national model indicate in the blue color. Vertical axis indicate the relative mean absolute error, and horizontal axis indicate the 32 Department of Columbia. In most cases, a department dengue case are more accurately predicted by the national model than the local model, because the less relative mean absolute error value. Top 10 importance predictors variables are predicting dengue cases in the national model, order from largest to the smallest. Percentage mean square error. Firstly, current and near current past dengue data. Current and near current past dengue data are extremely important in predicting occurrence the dengue in the near future, 1 to 3 week ahead. Secondly, the environmental predictor EVI, and the meteorological predictor rainfall, temperature were more important than the socioeconomic predictor, population, Gini index, and the income. Summary of the result. The majority of departments of Columbia, the national model, were accurately forecasted future dengue cases at the department level compared to the local model. These indicators of similarity in importance of dengue drivers across different administrative regions of Columbia. This finding have important implication for dengue forecasting models in public health in terms of time saving, such as poll data versus local specific model predictors and approaches that would help improve forecast accuracy. Limitation. This type of data was not available at the national level, given insufficient temporal and spatial granularity, cannot use specific equation to quantify the relationship between the count of dengue cases and heterogeneous predictor variables. Random forest cannot obtain value beyond the range of the variables in the training dataset. Recommendation: for future studies should consider the inclusion of other arbovirus as predictors, such as chikungunya, Zika virus, as well as examine the importance of other socioeconomic factors. Other premise ML machine learning methods should be tested, including recurrent neural networks, which inherently account for time and are able to capture complicated nonlinear and non-additive relationship between predictors and target variables. This is all about my today presentation. Thank you everybody for hearing me. Have any question, please feel free ask me. I'll try to give the answer.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please ask
In
your question.
table 3, we see many variables. How do you select important variables while working on a dataset?
Very good. What is your name?
Taslima.
Thank you for your question. I try to give you answer. This slide, are you sure with this slide?
Yes.
This table contains 10 variables, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 10. Here, dengue K is the current variable. Dengue K minus 1 is the near current past variable. Similarly, week EVI K minus 1 and temperature and several Gini index, several variables are here. From this table, I decide from this table we decide the value of from the value of mean square error. Here we know that the mean square error value is if the value is if the percentage is high, then the variable is more accurate. Here present dengue case is from first row. Here present dengue case is at 26.35%. This predictor is very important. Then the dengue K minus 1 near past variable, its value is 17.97%. We conclude that from these two variables, dengue K is important than the dengue K minus 1 variable.
You don't understand what is mean by K minus 1? K minus 1, K minus 2, what is this?
K minus
You can
K
go to the
minus
first column, rank 1 week ahead, 2 week ahead, right?
1 week ahead. 1 week ahead means the prediction of for the variable is the near future for 1 week ahead.
No, it's
Here
not like that. Like it cannot be the future data. Of course, it's the past data. Last week,
Yes.
last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks, something like that. So these are the lagged variables. Lagged
Yes, sir.
variables. In time series modeling, you learn these things. Lagged variables. Anyway,
Yes, sir.
you understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any question? More question?
Bibul Islam, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I have.
I have a question according to your presentation. In your presentation, we can see in this study many types of model are used, but What model is detected as best model in this study? Can you explain, please?
In this study, random forest model is based overall the artificial neural network and autoregressive integrated moving approach, because here the random forest model is accurately because here the random forest model give the less error than the other model. From this uh, uh, table, we can see this here the relative mean absolute error value of for the national random forest model is 0.93, and the national artificial neural network model prediction value is 0.98, and the ARIMA model is 0.624. We know that the mean absolute error value is less more than and we know that mean absolute error value is close to 0. This model is accurate. So from this study, we conclude that the national random forest model is more accurate prediction.
So what is the rationale like? What is the importance of week, lagged week? Do you know the relationship between lagged week and dengue incidence?
No, sir.
You don't know?
No, sir.
It's a normal thing like the climate variables. Maybe the mosquito abundance is influenced by the previous month's data, or maybe like the 2 months before.
Yes.
The climate data like rainfall is associated with the mosquito survival, because the stage of the mosquitoes are many, and the reproduction number of the mosquitoes, right? It starts from like 1 week to further. So the lagged variables are very important. The lagged temperature, lagged rainfall are very important for the occurrence of dengue disease, because dengue is really a climate sensitive disease. A lot of climate variables are affecting the mosquito survival and overall the incidence of dengue. Anyway, Arman, maybe you want to ask something.
Yes, Arman, please ask your question.
Maybe he facing the internet problems. মাইক্রোফোন প্রবলেম হচ্ছে, network problem actually. Our network connection is very poor.
Please, anyone have any question? Any other question? If there is no question, please finish my presentation.
Yeah, thank you, people. Mr. Motiur, come across with your slide presentation.
Yes, sir. First, take my salam. Assalamu alaikum. I am Muhammad Motiur Rahman, final year student, Department of Statistics, Begum Rekha University, Rangpur. My ID number 16100052. It is not my own paper. It is selected paper from online for presentation. This paper published in 26 November 2021, and it published by Shima Patil and Sharnil Pandya. Background. Aedes aegypti is the widely distributed throughout the tropical and subtropical region the world, and it's the main factor of dengue, chikungunya, and yellow fever disease virus, Maharashtra state of India. We know India is the second largest country in Asia Pacific. It has 22 states. Maharashtra is one of the largest state of India. The virus responsible for causing dengue is called dengue virus. Several dengue is a leading cause of serious illness and death in some Asia and Latin America countries. In recent decades, large-scale epidemic of dengue have occurred across 9 countries of Maharashtra state of past 10 years to identify to implement various predictive models and show a comparative analysis based on different evaluation at risks in the surveys.
Mr. Mubarak, you can present next.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, giving me a chance to say something about today's virtual seminar. About presenting this seminar presentation, I would like to say something about introduce myself. I am Muhammad Mubarak Hussain. My ID is 16100012. I'm a student of Begum University, Rangpur, Department of Statistics. My selected paper is Forecast and Prediction of COVID-19 using Machine Learning. This scientific paper was published May 21, 2021. As this background of this paper, we know COVID-19 is not just a name now. It has become a deadly widespread virus that has been affected all over the world. Its origin was Wuhan City, China in December 2019. This use of information technology with a focus on fields such as data science and machine learning can help in the fight against this pandemic. Rationale. Machine learning is capable of detecting disease and virus infection more accurately so that patient disease can be diagnosed at an early stage. The dangerous stage of disease can be avoided and there can be fewer patients. And another rationale of this paper is machine learning approaches are used and two solutions. One for predicting the chances of being infected and other for forecasting the number of positive cases are discussed in this paper. And main objective of this paper is to find the best performing machine learning model for predicting and forecasting of COVID-19. And another objective of this paper is to help in future healthcare automation tasks using machine learning and data science. Study area. Authors or researchers select the study area of India of 10 provinces such as Maharashtra, Gujarat, Delhi, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, etc. As good machine learning practice, dataset are preprocessed and dataset has been split into two parts, training set and test set. A conceptual framework. This is conceptual framework. Authors or researchers firstly collected raw data and pre-processing, then data splitting. Data splitting two types, firstly training dataset and testing dataset. It may be 70% or 80%, and test dataset may be 30% or 20%. Then testing data pre-processing, then machine algorithm testing, then parametric operation. Finally, authors' main target is prediction and new data for predicting COVID-19 and forecasting the COVID-19 cases. Experiment. There are many experiments in machine learning and statistical analysis, such as ARIMA, simple experimental, decision tree, k-nearest neighbor, artificial neural network. But this forecasting and predicting COVID-19 cases, authors or researchers are selecting two specific experiments. First one is ETC and second one is ARIMA. ETC means extra tree classifier. Used is the ETC for the symptom-based prediction of COVID-19. And second one is ARIMA. ARIMA means autoregressive integrated moving average to forecast the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19. Result. This is ARIMA table, and there is 10 provinces of India, such as Maharashtra, Gujarat, Delhi, and there is the root mean square error. That is the root mean square error. We know that less root mean square means best accuracy. Here the Telangana and West Bengal province, there is less root mean square. So the researchers selected two provinces to predict and forecasting the COVID-19. According to the values given in table, we have selected two states, such as Telangana and West Bengal. Here is Telangana root mean square error 12.66 and West Bengal is 10.90. So the researcher selected two provinces to predict and forecast COVID-19 cases. And another figure is next 45 days forecast Telangana province. Here is the dark gray color signifies the trending set upon based on the past data, and there is black is the future forecast of Telangana province next 45 days. Another result is next 45 days for forecast West Bengal and next 45 days forecast India based on past data. Result summary. The chapter discussed autoregressive integrated moving average time series for forecasting confirmed cases for various states of India. Two classifier, random forest and extra tree classifier, are selected. Both have an accuracy of more than 90%. Of the two, the extra tree classifier has 93.62 accuracy. There is some limitation of this paper. I would like to say some limitation. Forecast depend completely on past trend, so forecast value cannot be granted always. Another limitation is the model gives result on the basis of data developed by information given by health agencies. Thus, forecasting may not be 100% accurate, but it can surely be used as a corrective measure. Recommendation. For future work, further enhancement can be done by with ARIMA to get more accurate result. That is all about my presentation. Thank you to all. And any question?
Thank you, Mubarak, for your nice presentation. Any question from the floor?
Yeah, I have one question, sir.
Yes. Tell me.
So how does the ARIMA model fit it? how is the ARIMA model fitted? Can the author explain, or the presenter? He doesn't discuss about the parameter and other stationary, non-stationary, and other things.
Here, ARIMA model, it indicates the root mean square error, RMSE, or the root mean square is less, then researchers selected these provinces, Telangana and West Bengal.
This is not the answer. He asked you the parameter selection. What do you mean by PD and Q in the ARIMA model? Okay, you can maybe learn. You can learn it later.
Yes, sir.
Is there any other question? 171170065.
Sir, I am Milan. I am the student, third year, second semester student. My question is, why author apply here ETC technique? What effect of this paper, this ETC technique?
Oh, thank you, Bilon. There is some machine learning technique such as regression, RF, support vector machine, regression, naive Bayes, decision tree, k nearest neighbor. But author or researcher selected specific ETC or extra tree classifier selected, because extra tree classifier are applied when based on symptom. There is no specific reason for coronavirus in early stage. That's why researcher selected ETC or extra tree classifier model selected.
Thank you. I got my point.
What is your name?
Sir, Milan Mia,
Which semester?
third year, second semester.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? If there is no question, maybe we can give the floor to Rafiqul Islam. Mr. Rafiqul Islam, you can present your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Is my screen shared?
Shared.
Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my seminar presentation. Thank you all. I am Muhammad Rafiqul Islam. My ID is 1610051. I am fourth year, second semester student, Department of Statistics, Begum University, Rangpur. My today's selected topic is identification of significant climatic risk factors and machine learning models in dengue outbreak prediction. So here is my paper screenshot, which was published 30 April 2021, and the background of this paper is we all know that dengue fever is a widespread viral disease and one of the world's—
Zoom out your slide. Try to zoom out.
Sorry, sir. I'm
Problem with the slide, right? Anyway, next presenter. Who is the next? Who is the next?
Sir, presenting.
Who is she?
Rocky.
Warasul told me Oishi, so the next presenter is Oishi. Oishi,
So is she missing? Then Rocky may proceed, sir.
Okay, Rocky can proceed.
Thank you, sir, for giving me a chance to say something on this virtual seminar. This is Mohammad Chadbat Rocky, fourth year second semester student, and my selected scientific paper is machine learning based prediction of COVID-19 diagnosis based on symptoms by Ajit Jogi, Shiradehi, Rajab, and Noam Sharon, published 4 January 2021. Background of this paper: the novel coronavirus disease 2019 pandemic caused by SARS-CoV-2 continues to pose a critical and urgent threat to global health. The outbreak in early December 2019 in the Hubei province of the People's Republic of China has spread worldwide. Rationale of this paper: effective screening of SARS-CoV-2 enable quick and efficient diagnosis of COVID-19 and can mitigate the burden of healthcare systems. Aims to assist medical staff worldwide to triggering patients, especially in the context of limited healthcare resources. To estimate the risk of infection have been developed. Object of this paper: this model can be implemented globally for effective screening and prioritization of testing for the virus in the general population. Data collection: the Israel Ministry of Health publicly released data of individuals who were tested for SARS-CoV-2 by RT-PCR assay of a nasopharyngeal swab. The dataset contains initial record on a daily basis. Here is the dataset, which contains some variables. They are sex, age, fever, cough, shortness, and headache. And other information are known contact with an individual confirmed to have COVID-19. Development of the model: it contains gradient boosting to consider the state of the art in predicting tabular data. Also, ROC as the performance measure. Sharp value to identify the principal features driving model prediction. Result. Here you can see a graph, which on figure 1, ROC graph of the predictive model on the prospective test set. The model predict with 0.90 AU. The limit band around the curve represent point by 95% confidence interval derived by bootstrapping. Figure 2, a plot of the precision against the recall of the predictor for different thresholds. The model predict with 0.66 AU. The light band around the curve represent point-wise 95% confidence interval they are driving. Result. Figure 3. Simply additive explanation based one plot for predicting COVID-19 diagnosis, showing sharp value for the most important feature of the model. Presenting with fever and cough are key to predicting construction of the disease. As expected, close contact with an individual confirmed to have COVID-19 was also an important feature. Thus, corroborating the disease high transmissibility and highlighting the importance of social distancing. In addition, male sex was revealed as a predictor of a positive result by the model, concurring with the observed sex bias. Performance using only balanced research. If we train and test our model while filtering out symptoms of high bias in advance, we obtain an AUROC of 0.862 with a slight change in the SAP summary plot. You can see in the graph summary. We show that training and testing a model while filtering out symptoms of high bias in advance still achieve very high accuracy. All the symptoms were self-reported, and a negative value for a symptom might mean that the symptom was not reported. To simulate a less biased condition in our prospective test set, we randomly select negative reports of all 5 symptoms at a time and remove the negative value. The model still shows promising results. Limitations. This research is not without shortcomings. We relied on the data report by the Israel Ministry of Health, which has limitations, bias, and missing information regarding some of the features. For example, for patients labeled as having had contact with a person confirmed to have COVID-19, additional information such as the duration and location of the contact was not available. Recommendation. We highlight the need for more robust data to complement our framework, while also acknowledging the self-reporting of symptoms is always subject to bias. Thank you all. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Sir, I have a question.
Please.
This is Narinoshin Pia, student of 3rd year, 2nd year. The question is, figure 1 and figure 2, there is a value. What is meant by that?
You, please again, no, please.
Yes, I told figure 1 and figure 2, AU log value J.
And figure 1 have AU log value 0.90, which is for predicting the model. We know that when log value is equal to 1, the model fitted perfectly. Here value is close to 1, so this we can say 0.90 is also perfectly fitted.
Near to 1 because of.
Close to 1.
Okay.
Good. Any question?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Any more question? Okay,
Yes,
the
sir.
slide was very good. You want to say something, ID4?
Yes, sir.
Please.
If your data set is suffering from variance, how you handle this?
Please say clearly.
If your data set is suffering from high variance, how you handle this? First slide, data set.
This is secondary data, so this data have some bias, like as we can see in graph like that, where the true value for male and is biased. I already told that the model is observed sex bias. So if you will filtering this bias, we are obtain a accuracy value 0.862, which is also perfectly predicted. So if we filter the bias, you told told again? Tell again?
It's okay, no problem. Any more question? If it is not, the slide was very good, but you need to learn more. Some topics are not very clear, but the slides are very good. Anyway, thank you. And next presenter is again Oishi. This is the last chance for Oishi.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the chance. Sir, please wait for a second. Hello everyone, I am here to present the driver of dengue fever incident in 2 high-risk areas in China. I am Anika Tabassum Oishi, ID 1610043, student of 4th year, 2nd semester, Department of Statistics, Begum Rukia University, Rangpur. Here is the paper which is published on 20 December 2019. The background of the study: dengue fever is one of the most important vector-borne viral disease, which Aedes aegyptus and Aedes aegypti as the most important vector for final transmission between humans. It was estimated that about 55 lakh people are hospitalized with severe dengue each year in the world, and the incidence of severe dengue has increased 30 flood over the past 50 years. Dengue fever is epidemic in many tropical and subtropical regions in world, especially the Southeast Asia, Southern Africa, and Western Pacific. The mainland of China, dengue fever was localized epidemic disease caused by important cases with several outbreaks of dengue fever in southern provinces since 2012, especially the Guangdong and Yunnan provinces. After 1949, the first large-scale outbreak, the dengue fever occurred in Foshan city. Guangdong province in 1978, followed by 3 major outbreaks in provinces in 1980, 1981, and 2014, with more than 10,000 cases of dengue fever for every year, including more than 45,000 cases of dengue fever in 2014. Then the rationales of the study. In China, the knowledge of underlying causes of heterogeneous distribution pattern of dengue fever in different high-risk areas is limited. A comparative study will help us to understand the influencing factor of dengue in different high-risk areas. Then the objectives. The objectives of the study are to understand the influencing factors of dengue in different high-risk areas, to compare the effect of mosquito density into high-risk areas, to understand the specific evidence for early warning and scientific control of dengue fever in high-risk areas. Data collection and study design. All confirmed cases from 2006 to 2017 in the 2 studies areas are collected from China National Notifiable Infectious Disease Reporting Information System in Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Meteorological data in the study areas between 2006 to 2027 are downloaded from the National Meteorological Science Data Sharing Service platform. There are 3 types of model are using here. They are generalized additive model, structure structural equation model and random forest model. Generalized additive model analysis identified a similar positive correlation between imported cases density of Aedes larva, climate variable, and dengue fever occurrence in the studied high-risk areas of both Guangdong and Yunnan provinces. With structural equation model, we found the rainfall had the indirect effect on the dengue fever occurrence in both areas mediated by mosquito density, while the direct effect in high-risk areas of Guangdong was dominated by temperature and no obvious effect in Yunnan provinces by structural equation model. Random forest analysis. Random forest analysis shows that the most important factor affecting dengue fever occurrence where the number of important cases, BI, and the monthly average minimum temperature in Guangdong province. Guangdong, where the imported cases, the monthly average temperature, and monthly relative humidity in Yunnan province. And then the results. Here is a graphical representation. There was a significant seasonal in the temporal dynamic of the influencing factor in Guangdong and Yunnan provinces from 2006 to 2017. Compared with the meteorological condition in Yunnan provinces, Guangdong was in general of higher temperature, lower relative humidity, and less rainfall days. But similar amount of rainfall, the results of correlation analysis about variables revealed high correlation among monthly average temperature, monthly average minimum temperature, and monthly average maximum temperature. Then the result of random forest shows that the most important factors affecting the occurrence of dengue fever in Guangdong high-risk areas are imported cases last month, the minimum monthly average temperature and BA, while the most important factors affecting the occurrence of dengue fever in high-risk areas of Yunnan are imported cases last month, the monthly average temperature and monthly relative humidity. Then partial effects on dengue prevalence based on monthly data from 2006 to 2007 in high-risk areas, the Yunnan province, the effect of imported cases of last month, the temperature of the rainfall days at last month, and graph E, the effect of monthly relative humidity. Black lines indicate the 95% confidence interval, and red line showed the threshold. And then the structural equation model showed the importance of influencing factor on dengue incidence of different high-risk areas was not identical. The imported cases in last month, the monthly average minimum temperature and DI was found to be the most important factor in high-risk areas of Guangdong province. And then the conclusion, dengue fever is one of the most important vector-borne infectious disease, which is caused by 4 serotypes of dengue virus, mainly transmitted through the bites of mosquitoes. Dengue fever has hunted in China for more than 40 years, and particularly prevalent in Guangdong and Yunnan provinces with several outbreaks. Then the summary of the study suggests that the climate factor and mosquito density are the key driver on dengue incidence in different high-risk areas, dengue fever incidence. These findings provide scientific evidence for early warning system to help guide the allocations of limited resources to target areas and control the dengue fever. And there are some criticisms there. The bias could be excited in the analysis because the dengue causes come from the passive surveillance system called China National Notifiable Infectious Disease Reporting Information System, and the other one is meteorological factors, imported cases and mosquito densities, many other factors such as population immunity, population awareness, social factor, and urbanization level may also have effects on dengue outbreaks, but are not included in the analysis due to data unavailable. Thank you, everyone. Do you have any question?
Okay, Vashi, I have a question. What is structural equation modeling?
Structural equation model.
Yes.
I forgot.
No.
Sir, I can't remember right now.
Okay, tell Salim. Salim, you can raise your question.
Sir, my question is there any seasonality in this data?
Please repeat again.
Is there any seasonality in this data set?
No, I think.
You know?
No seasonality. In
What is the
data.
time series model here in this slide?
A random forest analysis.
This is time series model?
Statistical model. Random
No.
forest.
What is generalized additive model? Time series or machine learning?
Generalized additive model. Time series, sir.
Did you find any seasonality in your data set? Because the data is about time series data, I think. Do you know the meaning of seasonality?
Yes, sir. Sir, there is seasonality in the data set. Yes, sir.
What is seasonality?
Sir, it is season wise vary करे.
Yeah, the effect, seasonal effect.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, thank you very much,
Thank
Oishi.
you, sir.
And the next presenter is Wahida Khanum Othoi.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Very good. Varisul, remove spotlight of rural.
At first, thank you, our honorable course teacher, Dr. Siddiqur Rahman sir. My name is Wahida Khanum Othoi. Yes, sir.
Othoi, you can proceed. Where is Othoi? Varisul, fix the problem. Someone came in the spotlight.
Sir, I already fixed it.
Othoi, continue. Where is Othoi?
Author is disconnected, I think.
Okay, next presenter.
Sir, Tithi. Janat Tithi.
Okay, Tithi.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me the floor. Sir, please give me some time for sharing my screen. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the presentation. Today's presentation topic is application of machine learning time series analysis for prediction COVID-19 pandemic. And this presentation is presented by Janatun Nahar Tithi. That's me. It is student of 4th year 2nd semester Department of Statistics of Begum Rokeya University, Rangpur. And my ID is 1610037. And this article is published on 24 October 2020. So let's move the topic. Now I will talk about the background of the study. Coronavirus disease is an irresistible infection caused by the respiratory disease coronavirus 2. It was first found in Wuhan, China in December 2019 and has since spread universally, causing a constant pandemic. On June 3, 2020, 6.37 million cases were found in 188 countries and regions. The objectives of the study are using time series to predict imminent deaths worldwide. The second one is comparing the root mean square value of each model using time series predictive modeling through several methods. The third one is finding a method suitable for prediction on the COVID-19 dataset. And the last one is using ARIMA model for future forecasting of death cases worldwide. The methodology of this study are the World Health Organization time series data has been used for a empirical analysis. The data period is from January 2020 to May 2020. We used 80% of the data set for training process and 20% of the data set for the testing purposes. The overall structure of the experiment is shown here. COVID-19 dataset is divided by two categories. The first category is comparison of models by its RMAC values, and the second category, ARIMA model, is uses of prediction of death cases worldwide. And the data pre-processing is the first 4 months, January to April, are used as training data, and the next 1 month is used as test data. And the data set is summarized on daily basis. So let's move on the above mentioned method. The first one is naive method. When we use naive methods to predict the next day, we can get the value of the last day it is estimated, that the value is the same the next day. This prediction is naive method. Here by this method we predict death worldwide observed in the test data set. Here Y exists depicts the death of a patient and X exists depicts the time. The next method is simple average method. In some cases, the numbers in the data are increasing and decreasing. The average value is kept constant. In this case, we can predict the number of the next day, which is similar to the average of the past few days. This prediction technique, in which the predicted expected value is equal to the average value of all previously observed point, is simple average method. In this case, we can predict the number of the next day, which is similar to the average of the past few days. Sir, can you hear me? Hello.
শোনা যাচ্ছে।
I think the next one is moving average method.
A moving average is defined as an average of fixed number of items in the time series which move through this series by dropping the top items of the previous averaged group and adding the next in each successive average. The next one is simple exponential smoothing method. It might be reasonable to append began loads to later perceptions than to perceptions from the remote past. The method which works on this principle is simple exponential smoothing method. From this pattern, we can see that this data set follows an expanding pattern. So we can utilize Hall's direct pattern to estimate the future trend. So the Hall's linear trend method is we need a strategy that can delineate pattern precisely with no presumptions. Such a strategy that considers the pattern of the dataset is Hall's linear trend technique. The pattern shows that it is the weighted normal of the assessed pattern at time t dependent on the past estimate of the pattern. The next one is Hall-Winters method. The triple exponential smoothing is to apply exponential smoothing to the occasional segments notwithstanding level and pattern. Hall-Winters technique utilizes the irregularity factor. The level condition shows a weighted normal between the occasionally balanced perception and the non-occasional forecast for time t. And the next one is root mean squared error. To construct the RMS error first, we need to determine the residual RMS error first. We need to determine the residual error. The residual is the difference between the actual value and the predicted value. The RMS error may be positive or negative because the predicted value is lower or exceeds the actual value. This table shows the comparison of models by RMSE values on test data. We can compare above models based on the RMSE scores in this following model table. And the last one is ARIMA. ARIMA involves techniques used to analyze timing information in order to obtain important insights and different attributes of information. ARIMA uses models to predict future values that depend on the most recently observed value. The ARIMA model is suitable for evidence that the information shows non-stationary, and the basic difference step can be applied at least multiple times to eliminate non-stationary. This figure shows the experimental design of the ARIMA model. Here this is a flowchart of a calculation steps of ARIMA model. Following this flowchart, we can select the best structure based on RMSE index. Here, the Serimex table. Serimex means seasonal autoregressive integrated moving average with exogenous factor, which is an updated version of the ARIMA model. We can say Serimex is a seasonal equivalent model like SERIMA and AutoARIMA. It can also deal with external effects. This feature of the model differs from the other models. Here, the parameters represented by AR1 and MA1. Stationary series may still have autocorrelation errors, which indicates that certain number of AR items and some MA items are also required in the prediction equation. The coefficient segment shows the weight of each component and how everyone affects the time arrangement. The P greater than Z segment illuminates us regarding the significance of each component weight. Here each weight has a P value lower or near 0.05. So it is sensible to hold every one of them in our model. And the diagnostic model above shows that the model residuals are based on the following normal distribution. In the histogram plus illuminated density graph, the red KDE line immediately follows the N01 line, which is the standard symbol of the normal distribution with an average value of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. This indicates that the residuals are normally distributed. The QQ plot shows that the order distribution of residuals, that blue dots follows the linear trend of samples taken from the standard normal distribution with N01. This strongly indicates that the residuals are normally distributed. There is no obvious seasonal variation in the standardized residuals over time. It seems to be white noise. Now I will visualize forecasting. In the last step, we portray our seasonal ARIMA time series model to forecast future values. Our predictions indicate that we rely on time series to maintain a consistent growth rate. As we further develop the future, it is normal to lose faith in our values. The confidence interval generated by our model reflects this, and as we move toward a further future, the confidence interval will become larger and larger. Now come to the discussion point. The current model shows that the upcoming next few months will hard happen for the world if the government does not take strict control measures to its residents. The findings of the research may explode. The number of infected people changes rapidly. The case occurred in mid-March. The NAEP method is best suited as described. Overall, other methods has a lower RMSE score of 99.98. And in the ARIMA model, utilizing grid search, we recognized a lot of boundaries that delivered the best fit model for our time series data. By continuing the model, future predictions of death cases indicates that the number of deaths will increase by more than 6 lakh by January 2021. Here, the table is comparison of various models are shown in previous. So let me conclude this presentation. This survey will support the government and experts in making arrangements for what is about to happen, and based on the findings of instantaneous model, these models can be adjusted to guide long term. This is all about my presentation. Any question?
Okay, madam.
In your slide, you show us that curve Holt-Winters method. So why you use Holt-Winters method?
Well, this is a good question. This paper is not written by me. The author uses the Holt linear method for predicting.
But there you use for smooth. So
yes,
why
yes. The author uses 7 methods, not only smoothing exponential method. They uses 7 methods to predict.
Selim?
Sir, my question is that in this ARIMA, which order difference is followed here? Means D, P, D, Q. এখানে D I mentioned for D.
This is the flow structure.
No.
Parameter.
Yeah, which parameter? Which number of parameter T is used here?
Sir,
you don't know?
Can you tell the question again?
In ARIMA, which order of difference is used here? I mean D.
Oh, I don't know yet. This is
Anybody can answer this question? What is PDQ in the ARIMA? You know about the autoregressive term?
yes, sir.
You know about the non-seasonal differences for needing the stationarity issue? And the Q is nothing, the number of lag forecast errors. Anyway, so you can learn it
Yes, I will
in the
learn.
later on. Okay, so and the presentation was quite knowledgeable, a lot of knowledge we can learn from your presentation.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
and if you have no more question, maybe we need some break. Okay, we need some